Hi, Archie. How are you?
Good.
Are you having a good day?
Yes.
Excellent. Me too. Let's see if we can find what page we are on. All right, I found page 46. It depends if we are looking at the page, whoops, at the page of the book or the slide number, right? We're on slide 40, but page 46 of the book. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of our star. We finished up that chapter and we're heading now to Heromice headquarters because Electron and Proton have a great idea. Remember, these two kids are in charge of all of the new inventions, contraptions, gadgets, and gizmos that they can use to do really special, super cool, high-tech things to help them with their superhero work. So this chapter is called Watch Your Tails. That's an interesting name for a chapter. I wonder what will happen. Now remember, they're going back to superhero headquarters and they call that being back at the base. So the word base is talking about being back at their headquarters. That's the place where they meet, where they have their... When you did the detective club, the JAC outside the box detective club, your base was the clubhouse or the tree house in the backyard. That is where you and Colin and Joe would meet to have your meetings to talk about the mystery that you're working on. All right, so here we go. Back at the base, Swift Paws and I, Geronimo Stilton, quickly washed our sticky super suits so we didn't smell like cheesy fondue and Swiss shakes. Why would they smell like Swiss shakes? Does that sound familiar? A Swiss shake. Why would they smell like that? Do you remember what, go ahead. Do you remember what Geronimo's superpower was when he was up on the top floor or on the roof of the...
Oh, I know.
Remember?
The Swiss shakes.
The Swiss cheese milkshakes, right? So
yeah.
They're saying this shorter. Instead of saying Swiss cheese milkshakes, they are just saying Swiss shakes. But he must have gotten that all over him, so he smells kind of like cheese. And I think they're also sticky because it tells us right here that their suits are sticky. Remember what happened with the cheesy fondue was that Swift Paws had tripped and knocked over one of the fondues that fell into the next one, that fell into the next one, that fell into the next one. And soon there was goopy melted cheese all over the floor. All right, so then we dashed. Dashed means run very fast for a short distance. We dashed into the control room. The control room is where they will have all of their computers, where Proton and Electron had connected their strange contraption. Contraption, remember we talked about this last time. Contraption is a word that means something that they have made that will do something for them, some sort of tool, and they kind of invented it. And it is, so it's usually homemade maybe, but it is like an experiment. And it just sort of means like a gadget or a gizmo or something that they made to try to help them do something. So they are connecting that to the supercomputer. Electron pointed to the screen. Check out Tess Technopod's latest invention, Heromice, she exclaimed. Okay, so the latest invention is this contraption, which we see right here. It looks kind of homemade, doesn't it? We don't know what it's going to do. It looks to me like it's something connected to a camera. This, I don't know if it's just me, but doesn't this right here look kind of like a camera?
Yes.
A little bit?
Yes.
All right, well, let's see here. Oh, and hey, I was right. It's an invisible camera. Wait a minute, I'm confused. How can a camera be invisible? Let me keep reading and see.
It is just a story, it's not real.
Okay. But still, I would think even in a pretend story that if you're holding a camera, I would think you could see the camera. I don't think I would hold a camera that I can't see, but let me keep reading and see how they explain that. Okay. The Heromice's official cook and scientist, Tess. Oh, I remember Tess. Do you remember her? That's not Lady Wonder Whiskers. Where's Tess? Right here. This is Tess. She looks kind of like a grandma, right? She does their,
yes.
And she's also a scientist, which means she does inventing and experiments. She probably helps Electron and Proton come up with their sophisticated technological gadgets. A gadget is another word for a contraption, something that they make to help them do cool stuff, kind of like this invisible camera. We're going to see here what that does for them. Now, where am I? Right here? Okay. All right, so she arrived with a tray of spicy gorgonzola cream puffs. Gorgonzola is a type of cheese, okay? And then I think it's going to be Tess talking. She says, oh, it's, next page, it's nothing, she said modestly. We're going to highlight modestly in blue because that's a good vocabulary word. Modestly means humbly, which is another difficult vocabulary word, but I'm going to write it down. The word humble means that you don't want to brag. You don't want to say, oh, I did it all by myself. I am so great. You know, I'm better than everybody. I can do things that no one else can do. I have things that no one else has. I am just so special, so great. I bet you wish that you were just like me, because I am so great and I can do amazing things. That is not being humble, okay? Being humble is, oh, no, don't say anything. You don't have to thank me. It's no big deal. You know, I'm happy to help. You know, don't give me any special credit. That's being humble. If we take that last, let me get my eraser, and if we get rid of that, oops, this camp's having trouble today. Let's see. If we get rid of this E and we change it to a Y, then it becomes humbly. And it just means that I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to get all the credit. I'm not trying to get everyone to notice me and to say how great I am. I'm saying, oh, no big deal. Don't worry, you know, don't give me any credit. That's being humble. Modestly means like that. So she's saying, and then she's saying what it is about this invisible camera. And she says, it's just a camera with a special sensor, a micro lens, and and an inframouse ray. Inframouse ray. Inframouse ray. Now we have a word in English that's infrared. I don't know how they changed it to inframouse, but so she's explaining this invention, this special camera. A sensor can sense things. That means it can notice something. Now, since this is called an invisible camera, I'm thinking maybe the camera can sense if there is something or someone invisible in front of the lens. Now, the lens of a camera is the glass part, like a circle, and it will, it's what you look through to see what you're taking a picture of. And if that can sense that there is someone invisible in front of it, maybe that's how it will take the picture. But Swift Paws says, I have no idea what that means. Me either, really. Swift Paws interrupted, but these snacks look delicious, Tess. Swift Paws is right, I confirmed. Confirmed means yes, I agree. I can say that is definitely true. Now Geronimo was drooling. Drooling is something someone does when they see something really yummy in front of them and they really want to eat it, like some cookies or some cake or some pie or an ice cream cone, and you really want to eat it. You just can't wait. You say, oh, I'm drooling. Now, it doesn't have to just be sweets and desserts. It could also be a big steak dinner and you're really hungry and you look at the table and there's all of this amazing food on the table that looks so delicious and you just can't wait to eat it. You say, oh, I'm drooling. Maybe you say that even if you're not really, you don't have to have, you know, water and saliva coming out of your mouth the way a dog does, but you can still say the expression, oh, I'm drooling. It just means I really can't wait to eat this. It looks so yummy. And he says, they look super amazing. Within seconds, Swift Paws and I were chomping away like starving lab rats. Okay, that's just saying they just like food. They don't really care about the camera. They don't really care about the case. They just want to eat Tess's really yummy food that she brought for them. Chomp, 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 right? That means I'm eating, eating, eating. And then Electron decides he's going to try to explain to them how this camera works. He says, what that means is that this camera can photograph or take pictures of invisible images. Electron explained, shooting us a disapproving look. Look, we got to get our blue highlighter here. Disapproving means we have to break this down into two parts. So we have the dis, okay, and we have the ing on the end. Now that I replaced an E. They got rid of the E and added an I. So if you think about this word right here, right, like this, with an E on the end, that would say approve. When you approve of something, you say, yes, that is okay with me. Yes, I like it. Yes, I think this is great. I don't disagree. I think it's wonderful. I like it. It has my stamp of approval. You know, this is good. Dis is a prefix. Remember that word prefix is talking about letters that we put at the beginning of a word that can change the meaning of the word. And dis is a prefix that means not. Okay, so it's the opposite of. So disapprove means no, 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 no. This is not okay with me. I think this is a bad idea. I am not okay with this. I want something different, okay? And then we can just add ing to change how the verb is used in the sentence. So a disapproving look, or we can add ing to turn it into an adjective. And that's what they did here, because Electron gives them a look. A look is he puts an expression on his face, right? So if I go like this, you have to look up here at me. If I say, well, maybe I look a little scary, but I'm trying to look happy. Or if I look like, right, then I'm trying to look mad. Or if I look, then I'm trying to look sad. Or if I look, I'm trying to look surprised. So the expression or the look on my face can show how I'm feeling. Well, Electron is watching Geronimo and Swift Paws, and Tess just brought them this amazing invention, which is a camera. They can take pictures of invisible people, and all of a sudden you can see what they really look like being visible. And all they're doing is just eating her food. And so Electron is thinking, huh? You don't appreciate or like this amazing invention that Tess made? And so he wants to give them a look that shows, wow, I am not impressed with you guys. I don't think you're doing a good thing right now. You're not paying any attention to Tess's amazing new invention. You're just eating. So he does not approve of what they're doing. The fact that they're not paying attention to or being impressed by this great camera. So he's not approving of what they're doing. So he gives them a disapproving look. For example, in my classroom, I have many students, and if one of them is fooling around and not sitting in his chair and is being silly and is talking to other people, and I want that person to stop doing that and start looking at me, I might give them a look that shows I'm not happy with what they're doing. And my look might look something like this. And then I look back at it, and I want them to notice that I'm looking at them and I'm not looking happy. And I want them to get the message that I want them to do something else. Have you ever seen a teacher do that?
Yes.
Yeah, teachers are pretty good at that. Okay, back to our story. A minute later, a picture appeared on the screen. It was the invisible thief. And now they can see who it is. And they said, but that's a Jack Griffmouse. Now we can see a picture of him right over here. One of the most famous inventors in Muskrat City, squeaked Tess. That's odd. I haven't seen him in a while, commented Tess. And why would she not have seen him in a while? Maybe because he's invisible. All right, so let's see what we can find out about this character. Jack is his name. All right, and now we're going to see who is he, where does he live, what's his strength, and what's his weakness. So they have all this information about him on their computer. They know he's an inventor and a professor of applied cybernetics at the University of Muskrat City. So he sounds pretty smart. He lives in an old house on the outskirts of Muskrat City. That means you have to go outside of the city to get to his house. His strength is that he's super creative. Creative means he can come up with new ideas that other people maybe haven't come up with before. So he's a really good at thinking of lots of new ideas. His weakness is that he's super messy. I know all about being super messy. All right, let's go to the next page. You haven't seen him because he's been invisible. Swift Paws snickered as he stuffed another cheese puff into his mouth. All right, we have to look at the word snickered. Snickered is not really a very nice word. It's a way of saying something where you're kind of laughing at the person. And when you're laughing at them, you're kind of making fun a little bit. And so, you know, Tess says, I haven't seen Jack in a long time. And Swift Paws is like, ha, 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 that's because he's been invisible. And he's still stuffing her cheese puffs into his mouth, okay? I don't think he's taking this very seriously. Let's see what Geronimo does. He says, I reached for another one myself. That's another cheese puff. Okay, so right here, when we see this, we have to say he reaches for what? And that would be a cheese puff. After all, I didn't want my hero partner eating alone. I don't really think that's the reason. I think he's just hungry. Something's fishy here, continued Tess. I want you to remember, we're going to make this one orange. We've had this before in this story. When they use the word fishy, it has nothing to do with fish, right? It means something's not right. Something's not what it seems. There's something weird going on. And then she says, Griffmouse is an honest rodent. Do you know the word honest? That means he tells the truth, okay? He doesn't lie. And so usually we think of a thief or a burglar or someone who's robbing people, maybe as someone who is not a good person. We don't really expect them to tell the truth. But Jack is honest. She goes, I don't know why he would be stealing diamonds. Well, there's only one way to find out, concluded Swift Paws. Let's go on a surveillance mission at his house. I tried not to choke. Go to the invisible thief's house. All right, we need to get our blue highlighter, and we're going to highlight concluded and surveillance. Maybe we'll even do surveillance mission. Okay. We're going to first look at the word concluded. I'm going to right here the same letter. Tell me when I start doing a letter that's different from in this word. A lot of them are going to be the same. So far the same, right? Conclude, conclude. Beep, 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 beep. I changed it. Okay. Have you ever heard of the word conclusion?
No.
The conclusion of a story is the last chapter. It's when you come to the end. And the word conclude means to bring something to an end. You know, to say, okay, and what a scientist does is a scientist says, okay, I learned this, this, and this from my experiment. So my conclusion is that, for example, if a scientist decides, what would happen if I put Mento candy into a Coca-Cola? Did I ever show you that video?
No.
Oh, well, let's take a quick break and see a Mento in Coke, Mento in Coke experiment. Okay, now we'll look at videos, and here it comes. You ready? Can you hear it?
Yes.
Very good. All right, so here's the sound. Mentos, and the reason we
do you know that candy?
They have this chalky-like quality.
No.
What we want is we want. Yep.
It's a kind of candy. You can get it at 7-Eleven.
Down in the test tube like this. So there's your test
Have you
tube.
seen that
Got
before?
It? 13 Mentos, just in case you're counting. All right, so there it is.
No.
Now let me open.
I don't know how it's metal.
Now here comes the soda.
So, and we're just using.
So he's a scientist. He's doing an experiment right now.
Oh, when there is a
All right, so
and he's going to put it inside the Coca-Cola, and you see what happens. Okay, you ready? He's just putting candy in a soda. That's all.
Over the top. You got it. So right there.
Okay. All right.
Now, when we pull it out, those are going to fall real fast.
Have you ever seen this before?
All of the bubbles that are inside.
No.
Oh, keep your eye on it.
Are you ready? All right, so we're going to go 3, 2, 1, pull. Ready? 3, 2, 1, pull. Good. Ah! Tell me that's not awesome. Is that?
That's awesome.
I'm so sorry. Look at you. You are.
Okay.
It was
so that is a science experiment where you could say, what would happen? What would happen if I put this candy into this Coke? Well, you don't know until you try it, right? That's what scientists do. They do experiments. So they say, here's our Coke, here's the candy, drop it in and kaboom, right? And so after you do that a few times, you can say, my conclusion is that if you put this candy into this Coke, it's going to go kaboom. And you have to try it many times because, you know, you need to know, will this happen if I do it again and again and again? Oh, it happens every single time. Well, then you can make a conclusion. A detective will look for a clue and another clue and another clue. And then he'll say, well, based on all of these clues, I can conclude that that's the robber, or that's the thief, or that's the person who made footprints in the house. Okay, so conclude means to say, this is the decision I can make because of the information that I have, okay? And so Tess is like, something's not right here. Something's fishy. Jack can't be a bad guy. He's an honest mouse. And so Swift Paws says, well, the only way we can find out is let's go to his house and let's watch. Okay, that's what surveillance means. Surveillance means to watch somebody, okay, to keep an eye on them. Maybe you'll use binoculars, okay, or a telescope, or a video camera, or a secret camera, and you keep an eye on them. That's surveillance. So a surveillance mission means they're going to go to his house and they don't want him to know that they're there, okay? They're going to try to hide and they're going to try to look to see what is happening at his house. And Geronimo's like, are you kidding me? We're going to do something scary. We're going to do something risky. We don't want to be caught. He says, oh, what a fright. But before I could stop him, and we want to say, well, who's him? Swift Paws. Him is Swift Paws. Before I could stop Swift Paws, he called Commissioner Ratford to explain our plan to visit the invisible thief. Great idea, Ratford said. Good luck, Heromice, and please watch your tails. Okay. Now watch your tails. That would be a mouse expression. So we need purple. Watch your tails. I wonder what he means by that in English. Watch your tails. Watch your back. So in English we say, watch your back. That means don't let anybody surprise you. Don't let anybody walk up from behind you and surprise you. Okay, so make sure no one is noticing that you're there. Remember, Ratford here is the chief of police. Okay, he's the one that hired them to figure out this mystery. All right, next page. Ooh, it looks a little spooky. Let's see what we got here. We've got, looks like a haunted house kind of, doesn't it?
Yes.
And do you remember what Swift Paws can do with his super cape? Remember, he can say costume, ... and then he can say what he wants it to turn into. I'm not sure what he's turning into here.
A rocket.
A rocket?
Yes.
This chapter is called Swish, Swish, Swish,
Swish.
Swish, Swish, Swish. Okay, Jack Griff Mouse's house was on the other side of Muskrat City. The plan was to fly there, but I was having a little trouble lifting off. Well, okay, I was having a lot of trouble. So Swift Paws shouted, costume super flying scooter mode. Oh, so he's turning into a super flying scooter. That's what that is. I hopped on board, and before long, we landed in front of an old crumbling house that was surrounded by overgrown trees and bushes. My whiskers started to tremble with fear. What a scary place. It says up here in the little yellow box, Griff Mouse's house in the light of the moon. What a scary place, even for the Heromice. They're supposed to be braver than most people, but even they were a little bit like, ooh, it's so spooky. Are you sure this is a good idea? And remember, when someone is going this or good, we can call that stammering or stuttering. So the author used stammered. I stammered. And people will stammer a lot of the times when they're just really nervous. Shh. What are you trying to do? Get caught, hero partner? Why don't you just ring the doorbell? Swiftpaws snorted. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to explain before we stop for today, but I want you to see this word snorted. Whoopsie daisy doozy doozy. Right here. Snorted is kind of like, what was it that Swiftpaws laughs at people a lot. What did he do? He snickered. Snickered and snorted is a little bit the same. And it's mean you're saying something while you're kind of also laughing at someone about it, kind of making fun of them a little bit. I think Swiftpaws does that a lot, actually. So anyway, they're on surveillance, which means they don't want to get caught. They don't want anyone to notice they're there. So what do you have to do? You have to be really quiet, right? If you're on surveillance and you don't want anyone to know you're there, are you going to walk up to the front door and go, ding dong, I'm here? No, you're definitely not going to do that because then they know you're here. So does Swiftpaws really mean it when he says, why don't you just ring the doorbell?
No.
No, he doesn't mean it. So why he's doing something called being sarcastic. Now, I really don't like it when people are sarcastic. I'm going to write that word right here. Sarcastic describes how a person is being. It's when they say something that is kind of the opposite of what they mean, okay? For example, if someone, if I'm walking inside with someone and they open the door and they walk in and then they close the door in my face and I say, oh, thanks for holding the door open for me. Do I really mean thank you?
No.
Because they closed the door in my face, so I'm being sarcastic, okay? So it's when you say something that's kind of the opposite of what you mean, and you expect that the person you're talking to will understand that you mean the opposite of what you said, and that you're not happy with them about it, and you want them to kind of feel bad about it. So it's kind of a tricky way to make someone feel a little bit bad about what they said or did. That's one of the reasons why I don't really like it when, yeah, nice emoji, when someone is being sarcastic. And we can change the end of that word to be sarcasm. And if we change the TIC, if we change this part into an M, sarcasm, that's just describing the type of talking that someone is doing if they're being sarcastic. And that's what he's being here, because he's saying Swiftpaws, you know, because Geronimo's like, are you sure this is a good idea? Well, Swiftpaws is like, you're making too much noise. Everyone's going to know we're here. I mean, you might as well just go ring the doorbell. You know, you're making so much noise that they'll know that we're here. And so that's what he's saying, the point that he's making. But so when he says, why don't you just ring the doorbell? He's not saying, please go ring the doorbell. He's saying, you're making so much noise that it's the same thing as if you just rang the doorbell. So he's not happy with Geronimo for having said this right here, okay? Because that is making noise. and they're supposed to be shh. Okay, so that's what in this paragraph right here, in this sentence, swift pause is being sarcastic, okay, which is not really a super nice thing to do. All right, I'm going to put my star right here. And maybe I will make that like that. Okay, so let me hit my stop share. All right, here you are.
So long, Cheddar Chip.
I get to say so long. So long.
Cheddar Chip.
Bye, Archie.